Welcome back. It is double on J. That's right. Um, and I have this article that's been posted or written by this guy named Greg Adams, who is the CEO at Kaiser Permanente, the hospital. Yep. And this title is called "Vaccination Saves Lives in Our Freedom." And me as a libertarian gets kind of questionable about people who writes the word freedom. I like to vet them out first, just to see if they're really about it. And this is kind of more up my area, right? Like, I've been I've been in the whole liberty thing for quite some time now, so I think I would have a little bit of understanding of this whole thing. Just a little bit, not that great to be honest. I just steal ideas from other people to be honest, but nobody needs to know that. And it's tough not to feel like there is a whole bunch of fucking collusion that's just happening up and down across the board, from all different sectors, in my opinion. Um, in fact, it'll be kind of just, what's the word I'm looking for? I think you'd be sort of, I forgot the word. You'd be close-minded, as best as I can put it, to not be skeptical about things these days. And this is pretty much up the alley, right? So, when I was working in a hospital last year, literally, like, right as soon as the lockdowns happened, in, like, mid-March, all right? Right as soon as it happened, the next day, they went through all this crazy freaking different rules about working inside the hospital. I would think, or maybe somebody else would think, at least I did, would think that at least in a place of a hospital, I'm working with a bunch of, other doctors, or a place of where people are actually more science minded at that time. And you would think that they would actually discuss shit first, right? To go through different like scenarios and not just implement things without at least having a controlled experiment. You have a control group, you have some like this for at least some extended periods of time. But no. As soon as that shit dropped, as soon as the whole lockdown happened, they went straight into all these fucking rules about mask mandates, staying 6 feet apart, all this bullshit, in my opinion. All right, and there's just blind acceptance to it. And I was already critically just against or had some doubts about the whole thing from the get-go, right then and there. Time went on. It was May, and you see, the George Floyd thingy, and then it went into all these fucking riots and shit, right, during June, and the the whole message was Black Lives Matter and stuff like that, and also about inequality and yada yada yada, blah blah blah. You remember the whole thing, right? As soon as that happened, they made a whole gigantic fucking painting that talks about racial, inequality, uh, all this stuff. It's like inclusivity and stuff like fucking that. And I was like, dude, Jesus Christ, it's really hard now not to feel like that they're just following one message, one side of the whole political spectrum. Okay, and fast forward to just about the beginning of August, uh, and you have all this shit about like just mandating getting a shot, and lo and behold, they come out with the mandates for employees and shit. I was just like, Jesus Christ, dude. Okay, it's really obvious now, right? Like, I mean, it is so obvious that like I think even a fucking kid would be able to tell that something just ain't right about this. It's like if people kind of have funny feelings about things being sold to them, most likely there's probably some kind of like thing that they just don't want to get bullshitted on. They don't want to get lied to. And I think if you live long enough, you might have bought some kind of fake shit, and then you would kind of have this feeling, which it's like, okay, this product might be bunk, right? It is. just the innate thing about participating in fucking markets, in my opinion. All right. Um, yeah. So, and then now we come to this goddamn article. Whatever this says doesn't really matter. Yada yada yada. This is where it gets completely dicey. Okay. Cities and counties must require proof of vaccination for indoor activities such as attending concerts and going to restaurants, cafes, bars, and gyms. Well, that's a fucking huge leap there, isn't it? Let's see. Here we go. Civic organizations and places of worship must leverage their leadership to help keep communities safe by encouraging vaccination, separating vaccinated and unvaccinated people, adhering to recommendations for everyone to be masked in crowded indoor spaces, making vaccinations available at events and gatherings. Wow. Talk about going the full fucking, like, you know, just a full fucking far extreme at this point. This guy went from, or the whole last year, to talk about, as I never believed in it, but all inclusive and all that shit, and yet you're peddling the idea of separating unvaccinated and vaccinated people. How the fuck would you even find out who's unvaccinated and whatnot? I mean, I guess you have that whole pass thing, but whatever. Like, but even then, it'll be pretty tough to kind of like separate, no matter what. It's just pretty tough to fucking enforce. People have to get really, really, really like personal about that, and I would hope somebody's personal health is very private to an individual. Okay, but even then, where does this lead to? I mean, this is just basic ass fucking segregation. And not only that, this is the same talking points as that motherfucker Bill de Blasio, who talks about the keys to New York City. It's like this wonderful place. I'm like, bitch, dude, shut the fuck up. And then you got London Breed, that fucking bitch, who followed suit soon after. Right? These are all the just same talking points from the government. And you got this motherfucker, this fucking bitch ass CEO of a hospital during a pandemic that's obviously becoming super political to one side. I don't know about you, but none of this is going to work anyways, right? So what can happen after that? I don't know. Are they going to start like just chucking fucking people into ovens? Into some gas chambers? I don't know where else this fucking heads. All I know is that this motherfucker is a piece of shit. And when you got people like that in the healthcare who's not doing healthcare, I mean, the only thing that they're going towards is some increasing kind of violent measures. Because people are going to be people are going to start being treated as walking diseases and zombies. I've said this before at some point. And that just causes a whole lot of fucking friction. That will make people get picked on. Instead of looking at them as other human beings, you're going to be looked at as enemies. It's like, you're the one who's causing the problem and shit like that. Right? Man, this is just fucking madness. I hate this guy. I really fucking do. I've never actually been so set on wanting to get the hell out of this place any more than I did. I'm glad I'm getting terminated now, to be honest, because I just can't live with this anymore. I cannot fucking do this type of stuff. I hope this I really hope this fucker goes down. In a metaphorical sense, like, just kick him off off of the whole thing. I hope the whole industry falls apart because it needs new ownership. It needs to focus on actually doing healthcare again. Alright, I'm out. Alt F4. Peace.